Good morning, afternoon, or evening from wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining us and being part of our small and medium-sized business community here at the Microsoft 365 Tech Community. My name is Gabe Ho, and I'm focused on supporting the onboarding and adoption of Microsoft 365 Copilot with small and medium-sized businesses, or SMBs. With me here today is my teammate, Kayla Patterson, who spends her time looking deeply at customer insights and learnings and finding creative ways to tell their stories. And you'll hear from her in just a little bit. I do want to briefly mention that the term small and medium-sized business can be a little bit vague. The reality is that our team cares about customers ranging from solopreneurs to companies with hundreds and even thousands of employees across a vast number of industries, and want to make sure that we hear and represent your unique and diverse needs at Microsoft as growing businesses. We're excited to have you all here today with us to hear about some of the latest data and insights that we've gathered from the Forrester Total Economic Impact study on the opportunity for SMBs with Microsoft 365, some adoption best practices that can help you realize the opportunity and make it real for your company. And lastly, we'll take some time with Q&A at the end. If you have questions throughout the presentation or webinar, drop them in the chat comment section below, and we'll do our best to answer them. So diving right in, with Microsoft 365 Copilot, you have a powerful, trusted AI assistant that seamlessly integrates all your data across various devices. It starts with Business Chat, which provides a single chat interface that spans the knowledge from the web as well as knowledge from your organization and work data. And it's like having a secure chat GPT that's connected to your work data. It includes Copilot Pages, which allows you to collect responses and outputs from Copilot and be able to share and collaborate on it with others as a new AI artifact. Copilot is also integrated into all the Microsoft 365 apps like Outlook, Word, Excel, and Teams so that you can use Copilot in the flow of your work. Then there's Copilot Studio, which can be used to customize and extend Copilot with agents to meet the unique needs of your team and organization. And with Copilot Studio, you can create these agents to connect Copilot to other data sources across your company, like Adobe, SAP, Workday, or ServiceNow, to name a few, using the more than 1,400 available connectors in our library. All of this is safeguarded by Microsoft's enterprise-grade security, where your data is your data. It is not used to train or enrich foundational AI models, and it is protected at every step. Microsoft 365 Copilot frees your mind from the mundane and repetitive task so that you can spend more time focused on what matters most, like running your business day to day and growing your customer base, building your brand, and scaling your business securely. This means that you'll be able to serve your customers better, land more deals, strengthen your base, and build representation of your company with more creativity. To learn about how this could impact your business, here's Kayla Patterson.
Thanks, Gabe. So now that we've explored the opportunities that AI brings to small and medium-sized businesses, we're going to dive deeper into some tangible benefits. And in order to do that, we'll take a look at the results of the new Forrester Total Economic Impact study commissioned by Microsoft, which quantifies the ROI of Microsoft 365 Copilot for SMBs, providing an in-depth analysis of the economic impact that it brings. So first off, what is the study? So this is a So big long name, the New Technology Total Economic Impact Study is a comprehensive and objective analysis that helps organizations understand the financial impact of a technology investment. So in this case, the investment of Microsoft 365 Copilot for SMB. It provides an objective and detailed evaluation of the benefits, costs, risks, and flexibility associated with a particular solution. This new study is specifically from the POV of an SMB. It's a case study based on actual customers' experience via interviews and surveys. This is a piece of objective third-party research, and it serves as a model and framework to evaluate the potential financial impact of Microsoft 365 Copilot on your organization. How the study is put together, it's the TEI methodology. How does this actually come together from the customer interviews and research surveys, all of that. So from in-depth customer interviews, which included 12 representatives across 7 SMB organizations who are Microsoft 365 Copilot customers, and a survey of 266 SMB decision makers from a wide range of industries who are implementing generative AI solutions at their organization. From all of that, Forrester created a composite organization with an accompanying financial analysis. This all gets rolled into a written study in which that composite organization acts as the main character. The composite organization for this study is a small to medium-sized business with 200 employees and annual revenues of 35 million. And we'll get a little bit more in depth here in just a moment on that composite organization. So from this study, the interviews, the surveys, the composite organization, that financial model, all of that analysis, here's what we learned from the Forrester TEI study regarding what's top of mind for SMBs and the key challenges that they face. So we see that maintaining a competitive edge, staying up to date with new AI capabilities in a rapidly evolving technology landscape. One of the customer interviewees said that we wanted to bring AI into our business since it was obvious that for most companies, if you're not going to embrace AI, you're going to go out of business in 5 to 10 years. Risks from using shadow IT. Employees were using shadow IT at a lot of these organizations that were surveyed and interviewed, introducing a risk of breaches of sensitive data. Employees were wasting time and resources in searching for information, drafting emails, or missing meetings. One of our interviewees said that the first thing they did before choosing Copilot was to analyze the ways in which they thought their organization was using an alternative unsecured AI tool, and determine that if they continued to use those tools, issues would arise around copyright. If their people were putting information created by others as part of chats or information, they could potentially violate hiring regulations. And finally, we were worried that if some of our developers or personnel assigned to our clients were entering the queries or the coding into an open AI model, they could wind up harming the ability of our clients to create the types of ownership in their own product that would have basically killed their business and ours. Finally, streamlining processes was a big one. Many employees of small and medium-sized businesses wear multiple hats, and IT teams can overlap with content teams, legal teams, HR specialists help with finance and accounting. Our interviewees reflected these dynamics, highlighting not only overlaps in the roles of independent contributors, but also departmental overlaps for director levels and above. With Microsoft 365 Copilot, our interviewees were able to unlock the ability to streamline various processes within their organization, saving significant time for their individual employees and teams. So this is our main character for the narrative of this study and the rest of what we're going to cover. The composite organization is the aggregate of the experiences and expectations of 12 interviewees and 266 survey respondents, all from small and medium-sized businesses varying in size, industry, role, and geographic location. That makes up the composite. The study tells the story of this composite organization, providing you with a framework to evaluate the financial impact of Microsoft 365 Copilot on your organization. You should be able to see yourself in this story. So that composite org is an SMB with 200 employees, $35 million in annual revenue, and has 1 office. Their deployment of Copilot is a phased, Microsoft 365 Copilot is a phased rollout to knowledge workers, going from 25 users to 72 users over 3 years. Their objectives, informed by those top-of-mind findings we covered before, are to leverage Copilot to 1, improve employee experience and productivity, 2, reduce mundane repetitive tasks, and 3, stay ahead of technological advances in AI. Now that we understand the TEI study framework, what's top of mind for SMBs, and know our composite organization, let's talk about what we learned from applying the financial model, which covers 3 years of projected benefits and costs measured in today's dollars or present value. The big takeaway is that the composite organization receives a projected ROI of up to 353%, benefits up to $1.2 million, and then if we take out the costs, which include licensing, implementation, and change management, training, and employee discovery, we see a projected net present value of up to $955,000. The quantified benefits that get us to that up to 1.2 million projection fall in one of 3 categories or pillars, and we'll go more in depth on those in the next couple of slides. First being go-to-market transformation, which increases top-line revenues by up to 6%. Second being operational transformation, which decreases total expenditures, including up to 20% reduction in operating costs. And finally, people and organization transformation, which accelerates new hire onboarding times by up to 25%. So now let's take some time to go into each of these categories. First, we'll look at go-to-market transformation. The composite organization increases revenues thanks to faster time to market from process efficiencies, improved customer service and satisfaction that contributes to increased customer lifetime value. The head vice president of technology services at a managed solutions firm that was interviewed shared that they had faster turnarounds with Copilot, saying with the ability to turn things around more quickly, clients can come to us with more work. Sometimes that's an extra 1-hour project. Sometimes it's a huge 3-month project. It can be 15% more business. And finally, faster marketing content creation and the faster creation of sales proposals, which frees up the sales team to focus on selling. 72% of the survey respondents experienced or expected content creation to be one of the top marketing workflows where Microsoft 365 Copilot can save time. One marketing specialist in a managed technology solutions firm noted, "It's about the prompts we give, what exact results we're looking for, and then it generates instantly. The amount of time saved for a draft is 50%. The second category we'll take a look at is benefits that contributed to operational transformation. So with Microsoft 365 Copilot, the composite organization experiences increased worker productivity across various roles, including marketing, sales, finance, legal, human resources, and IT. Streamlining key processes that span across departments. The director of IT at a defense firm shared, "I've personally written 8 policy documents that are submitted for approvals right now that would have taken me 7 weeks. I think I wrote them all in 4 days." The general counsel and chief diversity officer at a staffing IT and business solutions firm shared that they were able to save 50% of their time spent on contract review, which requires a lot of getting information to various departments, data review, and answering questions across those departments. And finally, supply chain efficiencies, reduced spending on contractors, and savings from tools that are replaced with Microsoft 365 Copilot all add up to that operational transformation benefit. And before we touch on unquantified benefits and flexibility, we'll get into people and organization transformation. The composite organization experiences up to 25% acceleration in new hire onboarding and up to 20% decrease in employee attrition, thanks to reduced time spent on mundane and repetitive tasks. Employees have faster access to relevant information, which increases retention. And additionally, the faster creation of training materials and improved access to pertinent information accelerates the onboarding of new hires who can then contribute value to the organization sooner. They also experienced overall improved employee satisfaction, better communication, and collaboration among team members, fostering a more inclusive and efficient work environment. Some of the anecdotes and quotes we see from the interviewees were around people having anxiety about going on vacation because they're worried about what they're going to miss. There's that FOMO and anxiety around being able to follow up on everything that goes on while you're away. So the ability to ramp up fast with a summarization on a lot of those key meetings you miss when you go on vacation, because it doesn't just save the person time, but it's also going to save the other leaders in the organization the time to have to ramp them up. And we also heard from a chief information officer at a retirement services firm that Copilot helped them create training materials more efficiently, which then improves their onboarding process. And finally, the study found that the composite organization experienced some unquantified benefits and flexibility. Interviewees noted that prior to using Microsoft 365 Copilot, teams relied on unsecured AI tools that were open to public access. Copilot displaced those tools, improving data security. They also described the ability to upskill due to the elimination of mundane tasks and time freed up. A senior consultant at a cloud consultancy highlighted that Copilot helps employees who aren't fluent in the primary business language to draft emails more effectively. As the firm begins to open more locations globally, the use of Copilot has led to clearer communication with clients and more efficient collaboration among team members, enhancing the overall quality of their work. Also, further elaborating that employees could draft emails in their native languages, and then Copilot can help to get that drafted. And finally, interviewees and survey respondents anticipate considerable growth in Copilot's capabilities and applications in the coming years. They expect this growth to offer new opportunities and advantages in the use of both Microsoft 365 Copilot and various third-party integrations. That was a lot of information in a little bit of time, but now I'm going to hand it back over to Gabe to talk about how you can make it real, take all of those benefits and findings and apply them to your organization.
Thanks, Kayla. Now that we've seen this immense opportunity for businesses with Microsoft 365 Copilot, let's talk a little bit about how we can make it real. We know that as small and medium-sized businesses, it can sometimes feel like you're sprinting through a marathon daily with all that comes with growing a successful business and running your own small and medium-sized business. AI can be a game changer in addressing these challenges that you might be facing in getting work done and building or maintaining your competitive advantage. It can ultimately help remove some of that drag so that you can focus on what matters. And SMB leaders that we've polled through our Work Trend Index clearly believe that AI adoption is critical for their company as well. Furthermore, 80% of employees at small and medium-sized businesses are proactively bringing their AI tools to work. With so many employees already using unofficial solutions, it's clear that employees understand and see the benefit and value that the opportunity for investing in AI tools has, that they're bringing their own tools to work. And ultimately, what this means is that most businesses are not actually starting their AI transformation from the ground floor. People and their users and their employees are already using AI tools in their workplace. And despite all of this, though, a full 60% of our respondents say that their organization lacks a vision or plan to implement AI. Business leaders want to leverage AI in a safe and responsible way, but often don't know where to start. And so how do we harness that energy and enthusiasm that our employees and users have for AI to get to value as quickly as possible? When it comes to implementing a new technology, customers I speak to never overlook the technical readiness component of things, which absolutely makes sense when you need to set up a Copilot in order to use it. And that's just the logical flow of tool implementation. However, once through the technical requirements and technical implementation, the commonly overlooked aspect of tool deployment is user enablement and human change. We often stop short at simply deploying the tool and then expecting users to just start using them. In other cases, perhaps customers first focus on technical readiness, and only when they feel like they're ready to deploy the tool do they actually then start any kind of training and enablement in a more traditional waterfall methodology. However, what we've seen most successful with customers actually is taking a strategic and targeted approach to adopting Copilot and accelerating your time to value by running your user enablement and technical readiness work streams in parallel. Data also shows that customers are up to 7 times more likely to realize the value of their projects, including higher utilization, when they have change management practices in place. So diving in, let's start by talking about 3 essentials for Copilot success. Firstly, you'll need a strong sponsor or leader who can communicate the change within your company. This person will be the figurehead for change and drive home the importance of why we're doing this. This person, or it could be a steering committee if it's a coalition of leaders, needs to lead the change from the front, build support within the organization to drive this change, and provide that top level leadership communication to rally the company towards the cause. They should also help drive strategic decision making and navigate any potential internal conflicts. I know a common one that we hear is often who gets Copilot first and why should they get Copilot first. We've also found that identifying target scenarios or specific business challenges that you want to address with Copilot helps create a much more concrete direction and scope for your implementation and pilot. Getting specific with these work or business outcomes and your key performance indicators, as well as your initial set of users, brings much more clarity to the success metrics and value and definition of value that you want to measure in your deployment of Copilot and what you gauge as return on investment. Lastly, ensure that your users are properly set up for success with training and onboarding. We have a vast amount of resources available to you in our SMB Copilot Success Kit that we'll talk about in a little bit. And there are also tools directly integrated into Microsoft 365 Copilot, like Copilot Lab, that can help support some of this habit forming and onboarding and learning how to prompt and getting users more familiar with using Copilot. So to elaborate on each of these pillars, we begin with the expectations of an executive sponsor. Like I said, they should be active and visible, taking a committed role to the decision-making process and the progress of the project. They should help support by ensuring that there's buy-in or commitment from their executive peers, especially across that chief suite, representing the importance of AI adoption within their company. And these leaders should be leading the charge with communications, especially with employees, to drive and support the change that you're implementing. Employees are far more likely to buy in and adopt the change when they understand why they're doing it, what's in it for them, and hearing all of that directly from their leader or manager. Which scenarios to prioritize and which business challenges you want to tackle with Copilot is entirely up to you or your steering committee to decide. What we have done is created a wide range of examples available to you in our scenario library that can help you brainstorm or ideate on where your company might see the value of Copilot and AI the most within your organization. Not only are the ways that employees use Copilot going to be different depending on their business function, but how you would measure success and define your key performance indicators are also going to be tailored to those functions. Alternatively, IT admins could also look at the current Microsoft 365 utilization in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center and determine which groups of users are already using the Microsoft 365 apps the most and would most likely benefit from adding Copilot to their use. It's worthwhile to also think about how many employees you want to give out licenses to. Typically, we've seen far greater success with our customers who buy and deploy a group of licenses compared to those that purchase and pilot individual licenses. There are many intangible reasons for this. Firstly, it gets employees talking when you have a group of employees who are going through a pilot together. It motivates usage because they're talking about it. It inspires and creates opportunities for learning and peer sharing. That also ultimately that we've seen with customers breeds innovation and new use cases within their business function that you might not even have predicted to begin with. Once you have your executive sponsor and you've identified your scenarios and your users, never forget to think about training and onboarding. Learning to use Copilot is quite an incredible experience. On one hand, it's as simple as talking to someone and asking simple questions. I think this is what most of us have experienced individually and on our own when I think about myself and the first time I engage with things like ChatGPT. On the other hand, learning to get the most out of generative AI and Copilot and how to structure prompts to get it to deliver maximum value has also significantly refined my own thought process and communication skills. We like to think of building AI skills in three fundamental buckets. At the core and base, we have individual skills, and this involves understanding basic prompt structure and familiarity with using Copilot and building that habit of using it in your work for generic tasks like summarization, revision, and search that benefit personal productivity. But then it becomes so much more. And as a user grows in competence, they should naturally progress to look at how they can use Copilot and build departmental skills. These are skills that directly boost a user's productivity in their role or business function and involves more complex and potentially multi-step prompts. And these get into thinking about how to use Copilot to do things like draft specific sales pitches, or create marketing collateral, or write strategic white papers. And it can also include the use of Copilot agents to bring in data from third-party line of business applications to be able to perform their job function better. What we ultimately want to then ladder up to are organizational skills, where we see employees leveraging Copilot to seamlessly collaborate with each other in a whole new way of working. Not only incorporating Copilot as a daily working habit, but also using agents to streamline or automate processes and tasks, ultimately benefiting your organization and allowing you to orchestrate your business from a single place. Following this structure and this pyramid of skills, and introducing and progressing your users through them allows them to build a core set of fundamentals when they think about how to use AI and leverage AI, and ultimately build a better understanding of these concepts as they gain expertise. And of course, as you're going through all the best practice steps we just shared, we also want to make sure that you are in fact measuring success and seeing value. And that's where the Copilot dashboard can be incredibly helpful. Included with your Microsoft 365 license is access to this dashboard, the Copilot dashboard, that is going to help you track and evaluate Copilot usage across apps and by feature, and analyze the impact on business value and get insight to employee sentiment when they complete in-product surveys. The dashboard is powered by Microsoft Viva, so it lives outside the admin center, outside the Microsoft 365 admin center, making it much more accessible than the reports that IT uses within the admin center. And this dashboard is really positioned and designed to help decision makers, and by presenting these insights aimed at the leadership level. If you're an executive sponsor or an IT leader, this dashboard is going to be the view that you want to use to help you track success. To get even more granular qualitative insights, we also have a Copilot user survey kit that's available. with pre-built templates that you can simply take and send to your users to get direct feedback from them as they build Copilot into their daily habits, so you can see what's working and what's not, and iterate as you go through your pilot and expansion of licenses. I mentioned this framework that we covered, and I mentioned it earlier, the SMB Copilot Success Kit, as well as additional resources like worksheets in there can help guide you along the process, and everything can be found at aka.ms Copilot SMB Success Kits. It includes a technical readiness and adoption guide, additional onboarding email templates that you can grab and send directly to your users to help them learn how to use Copilot. And it is designed to be a streamlined end-to-end resource to take you from technical deployment through to end user onboarding and training. And as Kayla covered with the Total Economic Impact study, you can also find the full report at aka.ms Copilot SMB TEI studies. Or you can scan the QR code and it'll take you to a URL of the report where we have a lot more rich and deep insights that you can find. Awesome. With that, we are transitioning into our Q&A section. So if you have comments or questions that you'd like to ask, feel free to drop them in the comment section below on the event page. And if we don't get a chance to respond to you live on this webinar, we will make sure to respond in chat and in the comments as soon as we can.
Awesome.
Oh.
I was just looking at the questions or the chat or the comment section. It looks like we do have one question, Gabe. Michael is asking, will we be able to create custom GPTs/assistants again? I know that capability existed before, but it was pulled.
Yes, the capability does exist. So Microsoft Copilot Studio is our low-code platform for customers to extend Microsoft 365 Copilot with Copilot agents, or to build their own standalone agents. So whether you're a user or a full developer or just an IT professional, Copilot Studio offers this comprehensive platform for creating and managing or deploying these Copilot agents. And these agents can do a number of different things. You could deploy agents directly to applications your employees can frequently work in, like Teams or SharePoint or Business Chat. And they are designed to have tailored conversations about specific scenarios or predictable scenarios that require specific responses. Some common ones might be creating an agent to answer compliance or regulatory topics or topics around HR. They can also simplify and automate business processes and tasks. You could use agents to help with submitting expenses, onboarding employees, for instance, or updating benefits using Microsoft 365 Copilot with the help of an agent. And ultimately, agents can also kind of do more with your data. Like I mentioned earlier, these agents can also tap into your third-party line of business apps, like Adobe, SAP, Workday, etc., to be able to help bring in information for you so you can stay in the flow of your work using Business Chat or Copilot, so that you don't have to constantly switch contexts when you want to get information out of external services.
Let's see. Looks like we have a couple new questions. Emily asks, can you elaborate on the types of productivity gains we can expect? I can speak to the findings from the TEI study. And then, Gabe, if you have some thoughts and you want to add on. The productivity gains that were included that were kind of that were rolled up into the projected benefits from the study were, let's see here. Sorry, I'm pulling up some notes I prepped for today, and they have just disappeared. But bear with me just a second. So the productivity gains that were rolled up into the projected benefits were things like being able to save time based on reducing mundane tasks, being able to analyze and refine documents more easily or quickly, being able to work across departments more smoothly and streamline those processes, particularly in situations where the SMBs being interviewed or surveyed had lots of employees that wore multiple hats and collaborated with one another across different functions and maybe even served different functions within the same individual employee. Solving for inefficiencies and managing daily tasks, high numbers of meetings, being able to kind of like let go of that FOMO of needing to attend every meeting and being able to both summarize and look at key takeaways for what your next steps were from a meeting if you were to miss it. Gabe, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah. At Microsoft, we have a team called the Work Lab team, and one of the reports that they put together on an annual basis, I believe, is the Work Trend Index report. It covers tens of thousands of people across multiple countries around the world, and it includes trillions of productivity signals. And ultimately, what they do with all of that is understand the emerging trends and impact of technology in the workplace. I highly recommend going to the Work Lab site. That's microsoft.com/worklab, and look at some of the reports there. And we'll have a lot of metrics there on the actual productivity that we've seen, in addition to the Forrester report that Kayla has mentioned. Within the Forrester report as well, I know we have a lot more details. The report goes into a lot more details on the specific percentages and increases in productivity across business. So also highly recommend you go back there to take a look. I'll flash up the slide with the link to the full study, and we'll drop in the link to the Work Lab link in a little bit. From a personal level, I can safely say that Copilot has significantly increased my own productivity. To the point where, yeah, if you did take it away from me, I wouldn't be able to operate at the level that I am without it. So that's just kind of a personal anecdote for me, but highly recommend checking out some of these more detailed reports, because we do a lot of deep study into the impact of Copilot on especially around the productivity gains.
That's a good point. One of my personal productivity improvements I've seen with Copilot is getting over that overwhelm you sometimes feel when you're starting a new piece of content, and you kind of get that like blinking cursor, blank page overwhelm, and just being able to get started, initiate a task, or outline a document, get a presentation started. Those were things that came up quite a bit in the study too, being able to just kind of get started on something and creating presentations, creating marketing materials in much quicker time frame than you were able to without Copilot. And you can see tons more detail on that in the 56-page study that is linked here at the QR code. There's a ton of granular detail that you could really get into there.
Awesome. Next question from a user. How can we actually measure and track the benefits and savings? For example, imagine a board member asked to see the actual savings that we are getting from Copilot. What's the best way to do that? That is a perfect question, because that's what the Copilot dashboard is designed to help do. So within the Copilot dashboard, it tracks utilization of Copilot within your groups of users who have the license, and it does show metrics on time savings, value impact that Copilot has on work, and it's also abstracted up to be able to provide insights that are designed specifically for leadership to be able to understand and track value. The biggest difference when we think about the Copilot dashboard with, say, the existing usage reports that are in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center are that these are designed specifically for leadership to be able to view, and that's why they're powered by Microsoft Viva, because we also know that not everyone, and in particular, it's not often that leaders have access to the Microsoft 365 Admin Center to be able to see the usage of Copilot. So we've designed and built this Copilot dashboard to be able to allow IT or otherwise to share these insights and findings with their leadership, so that they can review it and keep track of progress and understand the value that they're getting out of Copilot.
Awesome. Let's see if we have anything else new here in the comments.
So we've got one here from a user about how does Microsoft 365 Copilot ensure security and privacy and compliance for small and medium-sized businesses? Great question. Copilot is built on Microsoft's existing data and security and privacy commitments. So ultimately, your data is your data. None of the interactions with Copilot are used to train the foundation models, and Copilot adopts your tenant's existing governance policies and data security and privacy policies. And ultimately, it also only surfaces content that a user has already access to. It doesn't surface anything more. To learn more about the data privacy, as well as find our library of technical documentation, you can go to aka.ms/M365 Copilot docs, and we'll drop that link into our comments thread as well, so that you can reference that.
That actually speaks to another question that just popped up. We had someone ask how they can get access to the hyperlinks we showed. So in addition to the QR codes that we flashed up on the slides, the aka.ms links, we will be posting all of the other relevant links on the MTC page for this webinar after we wrap up today.
Absolutely. I do have one more question here. What are key steps and best practices for preparing an organization and its employees for AI transformation with Microsoft 365 Copilot? When I think about how I've learned to incorporate Copilot into my daily flow, I think it's fundamentally changed my approach to work challenges and how I tackle them. The way I think about problems and the way I approach finding solutions is different now that I have Copilot. That being said, building that habit is not too different from building any other habit. I think what's been most helpful and what we talk about as best practice and reflected in our best practice is being intentional and starting with a specific scope and finding those quick wins and aha moments that work for employees. And I think our published findings on like the Work-Life report also do reflect some of these best practices that we talked about. And what I'm speaking to is within the general framework, the three essential pillars for onboarding success. And when we think about those target scenarios specifically and identifying how exactly you want to use Copilot to address business challenges, those are always going to be super helpful. As you think about Copilot, thinking about those business outcomes that you want to scope, so that you can scope your deployment, so that you can identify your target users and be very specific and tactical with them on how you want them to use Copilot to start, is going to be very important. In addition to training and showing them how to use it, it's going to be, you want to be very intentional and deliberate with how your employees use Copilot in their day, so that they start somewhere and build that habit and see those successes quickly. Ultimately, as well, we talked about training and resources. We have a lot of resources and training resources available. It doesn't necessarily have to take a lot of time or be laborious. Like we said, in our research, we've seen that a lot of small and medium-sized business employees are already using Copilot or using AI in one way, shape, or form. And so we really shouldn't have to be starting from the ground up. And so onboarding and training your users really does not have to be a huge time suck or have to require a lot of effort. And again, I'd recommend checking out the SMB Success Kit, because it's designed as a resource to be specifically for small and medium-sized businesses to streamline their adoption and end-to-end implementation, from implementation of Copilot and the technical details required around that, all the way through to end user onboarding and training.
I can also say, from a personal standpoint, with kind of getting ramped up, getting comfortable using Copilot and building that habit, I just started kind of asking myself a question anytime I started a new task. Can Copilot help me with this? How can Copilot help me with this? And just experimenting with prompts and getting in there and saying, okay, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. This is the role I'm in. Here's the context. Help me get started. Doing things like that and experimentation was a huge part of my ramping up to getting comfortable with Copilot and using it all the time on a multi-time daily basis. One of the findings that was interesting from the TEI study was when they looked at costs and when they calculated those 3-year risk-adjusted present value costs, they considered training and employee discovery as a part of that. One of the things that informed the way that they modeled that was that the interviewees that they talked to acknowledged that they're all early adopters. These are customers that have already been using Copilot. A lot of them acknowledge that they did not spend as much time and resources on training as on their teams as they felt were necessary to reap the full benefits. So one of the big takeaways was that training is such a critical component of creating the most productivity from the organization's investment. The composite organization, you can get a little bit more detail on this if you dig into the study. They looked into how many hours of training needed to be invested for new users, hours per year on discovery, and all of that stuff. And they delve into that. If you look at the cost section, then if you look at the appendices, looking at the specific training motions that they went through. Let me see if we have anything else. I think that covers all the questions. If anything else comes in, as we said, we will follow up in the comments on the Microsoft Tech community following this call today. Oh, Gabe, you're on mute.
Awesome. Appreciate everyone watching today. We would love for you to join us in the tech community. You can scan the QR code or take the AKA there at SMB community. And we hope to continue engaging with you and answering questions or having great discussions in the tech community.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.